Welcome to the Parking Board. Federation Board. Call to order. And everybody here but one. And we're going to have any citizens input. Don't see any, so we'll go to the next up. Delegations.
I believe the one that's here is going to be regarding a subject that's coming up a little bit later.
No more delegations. And now we look at any additions or deletions of approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Approve the agenda. Minutes.
They're pretty concise.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? It's passed. Financial reports. Short list.
Campground bills. If anybody has any questions as I scroll through this, not real quickly, just ask, and Steve or I will try to reply to that.
What was the Jerza architecture fee for, Kevin?
Campground shelter. What'll be the tornado shelter out there? I want to go to the content. Okay.
I was in Minnesota and I went through a trailer park and they had one of those shipping containers as their shelter. In a trailer park. They're all bolted now.
Wonder what they do for a door.
Yeah, what it was. Maybe just lock them all in.
I'll move on to parks bills. Might be a lot more questions here. Or maybe not.
I think the only thing I saw on there was about $10,000 to SPN. I was just curious what that was.
They're an engineering firm.
Yep. I didn't know. I was just curious what they were.
I believe it was the end of the pickleball
Okay.
engineering costs. And Rotary Park, if anybody noticed that, those railing and gazebo repairs over there, basically. This is refinishing the tennis courts. And that's courts 1 through 4, the ones that are nearest the baseball field. This is part of the playground that's indoors at the rec center. Lighting at the dog park. Concrete for the pickleball courts. Move on to revenue expense for campground. Look at current year to date when it comes to salaries or wages. We're behind last year on that. Fees, as far as people booking out there, we are behind last year. But the road has a little bit to do with that in terms of Highway 37. And people look ahead whether or not there's any detours or road construction to get to their campground. We knew that going into the year. That's heading toward the shelter. That's what's remaining to pay toward the shelter. Salaries one year to the next. That doesn't mean anybody got substantial raises. It's simply a matter of timing without full-time employees and some salary increases. That's recreation and aquatics, actually. Inside rec center is actually less than the year prior. Sports complex, not a whole lot more. Parks, we did pick up an employee. Swimming pool revenue in comparison to last year for the outdoor pool. Rec center this year to last. Rec center pool rent to an organization. Capital improvement fee is what we charge our users who are on teams. I don't think we have our final utility bill yet. I know we don't have water. We just talked about that one earlier this week. That's all the financial reports, unless there's any specific report you want me to go back to.
I'll make a motion to approve financial reports.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? On to department reports.
Thomas, looks like you're first on here. Anything you want to highlight? I know there's roof and things like that you might want to touch base on.
Yeah, we did actually work with the fire department to flood our roof, which sounds terrible, but it's actually a good way to find leaks, and it's the only way to mimic a hard storm. So Tessiers actually came out, got up on the roof, and we had one of the shifts come over and spray water up against the side of the old gym. And that way it could actually run down and mimic a thunderstorm, because we've been having leaks in the hallway going to the new pool since it was built. So we think we actually found out what was going on. The roofer is coming back to actually fix it, which is awesome, because this has been an ongoing problem for like the last 6-7 years.
Thomas, has that been a new addition of the pool or the old hallway?
The new one. Yeah, so essentially the way they built it, the old pool, the old gym, the roof is higher than the hallway. So they ended up putting drains on the top, and they put gutters down. Well, the gutters didn't extend past our HVAC units. Actually, they shot right at our HVAC units, and they were getting up under the curbing. And essentially what it was decided was, when they got set after they had done the roof before they had done the roof instead of after. So they never sealed. So the roofer's actually going to come back and fix those pieces so it doesn't actually go. And we've extended those gutters past the actual HVAC units.
So HVAC sitting on top of the curbing, and the rubber roofing went up to here, but there was no cap to keep it from going down inside the edge of that rubber roofing. And there should be a corner cap on here, so to speak. That the rec land, as far as the playland.
Yeah. So we got it put in, and then we had a unit that actually controls that exact room go down literally while they were putting the playground in. So it got too hot. It got to the point where when it was super hot, we couldn't even really open it yet, but we have opened it for our after school program, our preschoolers, and our group exercise, because they were already going in there. On the 22nd of September, we will actually put out a schedule and open it for families to come in and buy day passes, or members to actually use during designated times. So 22nd, we'll actually get it out there, but the week before that, we'll actually push it out on social and push it out with our marketing.
And just so you guys know, those mics are really hot.
Yeah, I'm
You'll
noticing
be able
now.
to go with it about a foot away from your face, and they'll be able to pick you up quite well. Sorry I didn't tell you ahead of time. Anything else you want to highlight in programs or aquatics?
I think aquatics did really well this summer, and that's reflected in the revenue, obviously. We didn't shut down. We didn't have an actual full-on rain day, which is pretty rare for the outdoor pool, which is why our check-ins are higher, but also our revenue was higher, and that doesn't completely reflect just because of us not shutting down. It also reflects an increase in memberships, because a bulk of our revenue comes from memberships. So to me, I think the whole summer was a huge success, especially with it being my first summer and Lori Schmidt's last summer, which we want to make sure we get that in and say thank you, because she's been a wonderful employee for the school district. Well, I don't know if everybody knew, but she's been a wonderful employee for our concession stand at the Outdoor Aquatic Center, and we want to make sure we give her credit where credit's due. This was her last summer, but we want her to know how much we appreciated her.
How many years?
20 before I got here, but over 20, yep.
Yeah.
Jeremy?
Pretty much wrapped up all over summer. User groups co-ed finished last week. We're about halfway through all over fall. They did get the dugouts done, the remodels at the stadium. The infield is coming. I don't have a date yet. The company that got the bid, there's a different company, DuraEdge, that's going to come in and kind of take over that project for them with their help a little bit. But DuraEdge is a big time company that does major league fields, so that's a pretty good deal. Soccer tournament this weekend. Mitchell Soccer Association hosting, I believe, 52 teams. That's by far the biggest that they've had in the last couple that they've had, and probably the biggest tournament out there since that state tournament, the first year that they opened. Ice Arena started compressors. Lines and logos are down, sealing them right now, and we'll be building ice up. We'll have it ready by Next Wednesday will be the date for on their agreements, but the first thing that I have down is the 21st for Learn to Skate. I don't have a starting date for figure skating yet, but they'll could be next weekend or probably the weekend after. Hockey clinic October 3rd and 5th, so all that is starting to get busy here. And then they start full practices on the 29th.
Thank you. Steve?
Well, guys have been winterizing, making repairs at the outdoor pool. We got to do a few tree removals at the trailer court so they can get some more of them trailer houses moved out of there. Trimming some trees in the parks. The pickleball courts are done. I had on here they had to finish dirt work. They had done that already around the outside. They might have a little bit of touch up to do, but I think that's pretty much completed. Lots of mowing and trimming.
Will you have time to see then for that to get started yet this year?
I will try. We got to put irrigation in around it, but I don't know if this will get seeded. We might dormant seed it so it's ready for next spring. But so, and lots of mowing and weed eating. A lot of our seasonal high school, college kids have gone back to school, so now it's all on the full time staff to do a lot of that. We still got some guys that are mowing for us, but all the rest of the day-to-day operations is pretty much on full-time staff now.
They're on to marking trees. If anybody sees trees with pink spots in their boulevard, pink spray paint spots, they're targeting trees.
Yeah, them are the ones that are going to have to be removed this coming winter.
I noted on here one of the first things on the report was the grant applications I had submitted for both a trail along the railroad going from 23rd out to West Harmon. It's not looking good right now. But she said don't give up on necessarily that one, but on the one that I submitted for the playground at Genuine. I was in the top 50% as far as when the submission went in. She said there's another round that comes after that, which I assume is coming soon. Normally, if we get passed by once, we get approved on the second round. We had funding for a playground this year, which we get better pricing when we wait till winter to order for that. So we're waiting till this winter to order for next year for Gaynor Park. Because the factory where they make this stuff, they like to be busy in the winter months. So we're working with them. Depending upon, well, regardless of which company it is, I believe we'll get better pricing on winter construction of it. Light poles, I don't know, remember Jeremy mentioned that one or not, but some of them failed the test. The vast majority were able to be, what should we say, fumigated or treated, so they will last. They'll have to look at those again in 10 years, but we had 5 that needed to come out quite soon, and another 5, I believe it was within the next year. Lights at the dog park are in. Steve mentioned pickleball courts. They were so anxious to get out there that they wouldn't allow the contractor to finish putting up the nets. They wanted him to stop because they had brought their own portable nets. I said, no, he's the contractor. He gets to work until his work is done. So they moved to the tennis courts that first night. Mentioned on here how we had him paint lines in the tennis courts for pickleball lines. He painted the ones for the kitchen, which is the line that's 7 feet from the net. And then somebody inquired about having some that are back near the tennis service line, which would be the baseline for pickleball. And I had a requested some pricing, and before we knew it, the lines are already painted. So it didn't agree with the Tennis Association or High School Tennis to have those there because they're so close, and it's hard to differentiate when the ball is landing and they're watching the ball land. They had to come off again. Trees grant worked. 80 trees will be going in sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Some along the cemetery, the new trail that's starting again in the next couple of weeks along the south and west perimeters of the cemetery expansion. Something I'll talk about here as we have this ice time request coming up. Name change from Public Beach to Seabirch Beach commemorative event. A new sign is getting made, and when that is made, there's going to be an event to a public event to note that. Questions of any of us?
I believe last meeting you said Jeremy's last meeting is coming up. Is that correct? The next few weeks?
Next month. Or will you be?
I'll be here as the meeting's going to be pushed back, right?
Right.
My last day is October 31st, so I got a month and a half ish.
Okay. How's the search going? Any?
Applicants. It's open till the 21st, so
Okay.
we haven't started interviewing yet.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
To approve the suggested rate change for rec center and aquatic center is next.
So in the left column is rates that are current. On the right column would be proposed for 2026. It's approximately 3%, but there's some rounding in some cases to make it to a more agreeable number rather than 37 cents.
This is a pretty standard number.
3%? Yeah.
Taking in
There's been years
utilities cost and
where I believe we've skipped altogether in terms of doing increases.
There's been multiple years where we've skipped. One of the things that we are, which is a must for us, our utilities costs have gone through the roof because now we're heating and cooling 3,500 square foot additionally with that new fitness area. So those costs have incurred, and we just have to, at this point, do a 3% increase.
And that gym wasn't air conditioned in the past either.
So the back gym was not air conditioned in the past either, which again adds to utility costs. And along with that, in the new indoor playground, I mean, those are three things that have been added that have been huge amenities for our members.
pretty steady flow of people. I mean, it's busy a lot, or is it?
It's been a good, solid year for memberships and for revenue. Yep. We got together, four of us, three rec center staff, and I visited with them because I want to know their views on it, and rather than me just saying, here's what we're doing, because we need to feel out how the public perception is when they come in the door and say, if they comment on our rates of impacting them, of course they are. When you look at $800 for a family membership, that's a chunk of change. And it was just below 800 before, and it's going to be just over 800 if you approve these rate changes. So it is something to look at, and we don't take it lightly.
The tree grant work, what involves around here? What kind of trees do we get with that?
I can go back into that, Dan, if you want a little bit later, but we're on rates right now, so I wish we could stay on this.
Reading slower than you're reading.
Okay.
Any concerns of losing memberships?
So I would say no. It's pretty standard, like Kevin had said, the 3% increase. Right now, we hover around 3,600 members, and our check-ins versus last year are well over 10,000 above where they were. We're anticipating to hit 100,000 check-ins for this year, which is above and beyond. I mean, I've been tracking this for the last 15 years, and I've never really thought that we would get to 100,000, and I never thought we'd get well above 3,500 members. I'm not in fear of losing our members because of an increase by 3%. I would be in fear of losing members if we had to cut services because utilities were so high and we had to start looking at staffing and stuff like that.
I'll make a motion to approve the new rates.
I'll second.
All approve the rate increase? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Has been approved. Now we discuss the change to the Mitchell Rec Center to 24/7.
Want to overview it, Thomas?
Yep. So currently, what we're doing is one time you purchase a fob for $10, and there's no recurring fee with that. There's no reactivation fee. There's really no penalty other than we can just deactivate your fob at any time to have 24/7 access to the rec center. These are only active if you have an annual or an auto checking membership. You have to be over 18, or if you are over 18, you have to. Or sorry, if you're under 18, you have to come with a family member on your membership who's over 18. So we have a lot of rules, but at the end of the day, we again had cost increase with our utilities, and there's not a ton of skin in the game with $10 anymore. So what we want to do, along with rising cost of fobs, we want to actually charge $25 up front, and then actually put together a reinstatement fee of $25 to make people know that if you do violate our policies and violate our rules, which you are signing and they're given at the time of their purchase, then we're giving you one chance to actually reactivate your fob for $25 again. After that, we're going to cut the fob service. You do not get access with 24/7. So what we've seen is an increase in people allowing other people that aren't on memberships, that are buddies or whatever it is, to come in after our staffed hours. And we have cameras. We have, a fob system that can actually tell us who's using the fob, and we do cross-check that stuff. And as we see it and as we catch it, we can determine that. But Kevin brought up a good point. There's no skin in the game for letting 12 people in that aren't members either. So one of the things, Kevin, if you want to scroll down a little bit, one of the things that's entered on this contract is plus any other applicable fees. So if somebody is to let in somebody else who isn't a member, who doesn't have an actual membership, we have the ability to charge a day fee for that too. And that'll be made known as they purchase the fob to, again, incentivize following the rules, because the rules are a one-pager. They're not that complicated, but when it comes down to it, our old rule sheet was very wordy, and we wanted to make sure that we bullet pointed it so we can actually point out all the highlights. And the highlights really are: you can't bring non-members in, you must have an active membership, and realistically, if we catch you doing anything, you're going to be put to a reactivation fee or any other applicable fees.
Do you have a lot of situations like this, Thomas?
Yeah, it's pretty constant. When it comes, so on a typical day, Chris will run through all of the showrunner report. It'll give everybody who scanned their fob from 9 o'clock at night when we close to 5:30 when we open. It'll give her a list, and it'll say whether it was actually allowed or not, which tells you if you have an active fob or not. And she'll go through, and this is a gym thing. In the gym industry, your regulars, your people that show up at 5:30, your people that show up at 9, your overnight people. If she sees anybody that gets dinged as, oh, you didn't have one or it's not active, she'll go to the camera just to make sure that it wasn't our system that actually didn't let an active member in. And we'll oftentimes find it's people letting people inside doors, or it's somebody that knocked on the door until a member, and sometimes they don't know, we'll actually let them in. So for us, this cleans it up. It gives us more specific rules to actually translate to our members, and allows us also to say, this is exactly what your penalty is. This is the reactivation fee. After that, you will not have access to 24/7 again. Right now, it's kind of out there and open for interpretation, and I'm not a huge fan of that.
Do you have a fee for lost fobs?
They would have to repurchase the fob. Yeah. But not be penalized for the reactivation fee and that. Yeah. In those cases, no, we're not. Obviously, the reactivation fee is specifically if we deactivate your fob because you violated the rules. Good. That is a good question, though.
Because the lost one, you would deactivate.
We would not
You're
deactivate until we knew it was lost.
Right.
Yeah, and then it would. We actually had that case, Adam, come up here about 2 months ago. There's one name that we noticed that we knew did not come in overnight, and her fob kept popping up. So Chris went back to the cameras, and turns out she had lost her fob, didn't let anybody know. A kid found it. Don't know how he knew, because it doesn't say rec center on it, but he figured out what door it was. He was using it. He hid in our steam room and our sauna. I'm not kidding here. Like, those things get locked at night. He actually snuck in, and we have a night janitor that comes in. He came in overnight just to do his nightly duties and got scared because there was a kid sitting in the steam room. Kid walks out, he's like 18 years old, dripping wet, and I'm sitting there going, well, he couldn't have gotten out of that room. And what if he got caught in there, didn't know the emergency situation to get out? I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen if violation of policy actually takes place. And if they get into our wet areas, which are locked, but if you sneak in, there is a problem there and a potential hazard for us.
We have a motion to approve the changes to Rec Center 24/7 policies.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Now we have a request from the Mitchell Hockey Association to rent ice time on Wednesdays during traditional open skate hours.
Oh, do you want me to come up? Okay.
Yes, please. I can kind of preface it. Basically, we have open skate 4 weekdays. The one day that we don't is Tuesday. Is that correct, Jeremy?
Tuesday.
And we've got Wednesday time. It isn't super high used. They're proposing using actually both sheets of ice, one day for an hour and a half, the other sheet for an hour,
Correct.
I believe. And they would pay the same rent, but they do it other times, which would actually be more than what we make traditionally during that open skate time. But something I noted in my notes, which I didn't put on here, is that people get used to X number of times. This is just a consideration to think about it as we're talking about this. This is a one-time ask right now. It doesn't mean she's going to come back next year and ask for Thursdays
Right.
or Mondays or things like that. But it's just to note that it's there. We have 120, I believe, people who pay for what's called a fun pass. That means whether they use open skate or not, they have free access to come to any open skate they want. You take away one of those, does it mean we're going to sell fewer fun passes? Just something to think about, which is part of a membership. In addition, you've got how many that have a family open skate pass?
Last year we had 28 single passes sold and 13 family passes sold.
So that's on top of the fun passes. So that's people who could just come at any time they want and not have to pay unless they're renting skates.
Yep.
So
Well, you can get family pass or season pass with or without skates. A lot of the people that do that are hockey players. They already have their skates. We have both of those.
I didn't mean to cut you short, Darcy. No, go, jump right in.
Fine.
You've got a growth in the program, and we're glad to hear it.
Yeah. So, hi, I'm Darcy Sabers. I'm the president of hockey. So first, I guess this is coming up because we have a transition in our girls program where the age gap between those girls is very significant. Generally, they've been able to combine some of their practice times so that the varsity to JV level, a lot of the 14U level is very similar to that. So this year, particularly, we have a lot more 12U compared to the varsity 18U. So the Wednesday practice time, Cody Miles has offered to take that on as a skills development time for any of the girls that are 12 and under, just to kind of separate those from the varsity level girls so that their practice isn't quite as hindered. They can still continue their upper level practice, and the 12U girls can get a little bit more individual time. They have a church obligation, obviously, and so they don't want to go past 5 o'clock because, like, I think it's 5 o'clock, because they want to be able to get home and go to church by 6. So last year they took the 3:45 or the 3:45 to 4:45, and they were off the ice by 5. That time slot has been given back to the boys varsity because they use a 2-hour time slot. So we were looking at an option for them to get their extra hour in for this skills development program that they want to run. So right now we have, we're scheduled to host the girls varsity state tournament at the rink. We have not hosted a varsity level state tournament in several years. So that is a big promotion for our association as well as our community. That will bring in, I don't know how many towns there are, 9 different towns with the varsity level. So that was kind of the push for you guys approved a lot of our rink improvements for this year. So thank you for that. We have
Thank you for the
been
free labor.
working quite diligently. We have some very dedicated volunteers that have well over 300 hours in this summer in cleaning and maintenance and rebuilding and
Painting.
fixing. And
Yeah.
so in preparation for that varsity level tournament, that's kind of, this is kind of our showing to the state that we can host these things because we haven't got that opportunity for, I've been in there 8 years, and I don't think we've had a girls varsity since then. We had a 14U state, but we have not had a varsity level state. So that will be a good influx into the community. So
So the intent would be to use the ice throughout the season.
yes, this would be a full season request. Yep.
Because it wouldn't work for us to try to pick up another open skate mid-season. I don't think it'd be well attended if we added it again.
Correct. We did briefly discuss between Cody and myself, like, okay, what are going to be the options for open skate? Like, can it be later? I don't know if
On
that's
a Wednesday.
yeah, a thing or not. We have men's league on Wednesday nights from 7 to 9, I suppose they go, 8:30, something like that. I don't know that moms would send the kids with dads for open skate so they get a night off. I don't know if that would be a thing for them or not. But obviously Wednesday is a controversial thing because of the church obligation and the religion side of that. We didn't used to do a lot on Wednesdays. Last year worked out very well for these girls to have a little bit extra time that they didn't have to fit in during the week. They're still done very early so that it's not affecting schoolwork and those types of things. So we finally have a coach that's able to rearrange his work schedule a little bit to come for an after school time frame. We have some of those 12U girls that are coming from Ethan and Mount Vernon, and so we don't go right at 3:30 just to give them time to get there. So 4 o'clock is kind of their sweet spot. Sometimes 3:45 they think is when was kind of pushing it last year. So they would like a 4 to 5-ish time frame. So
This is one that she would need to know this meeting and not think on it for a month because she's putting together schedules now
correct.
for teams to be able to have access to the ice. And they begin by the end of September, first part of
Yep.
October. So they'd be a couple weeks into it.
And
by-
open skate doesn't generally start till after October 31st, I think.
We usually go about the third week in October.
Okay.
Towards the end of October.
So there is a little bit of time there that they could use it without conflicting with open skate. We're willing to figure out something. I mean, I don't know that I can guarantee I can find you an employee that would work for the city on Wednesday nights. I'll work on it. I could try. It might be me. I don't know. You might be surprised. Or if there's a compromise where we can do it every other week, or whether we can do, a couple times a month, something to give them a little bit of opportunity for extra ice time. So.
Can certainly discuss, ask questions of her. I'm not trying to steer people away, board away from making that decision. It's a great program. I just want to put the considerations out there.
It does overall affect the community, and we have worked very, very hard to change the image Mitchell Hockey has had in the past with the community. So some of us are very adamant that perception of the hockey program gets changed. So we don't want this to be a negative thing towards the community, but this is kind of where our program is at as far as the growth side of this. Next year we might not have this age gap. I haven't looked at the numbers to see kind of how that works. So
Saturday, Sunday open skate, Jeremy.
I'm sorry, what?
Saturday or Sunday open skate, do we have?
Both.
Both. So we'd still have 5 days. So one day that we did not have, I'd mentioned, but we'd be then eliminating Wednesday as well. So there'd still be 3 weekdays plus Saturday and Sunday.
Do we track the usage for the 28 single and the 13 family during this time at all? Any idea of what?
No. Just how many passes were sold.
How many people are coming on average, would you say, to that Wednesday night skate?
Last year we averaged $47 that we made on Wednesdays. And with an hour of hockey this year it would be $83.
So
Yep. And one of the notes I put in there is just keep in mind, it can't be whittled away down to once or twice a week because that means we're simply subsidizing a private organization. The city is to run a facility. It's got to have public time available.
correct. She said it still has 5 days, correct?
Correct.
And each one is about an hour or two.
Hour to an hour and a half, Jeremy?
We have an hour and a half on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, 2 hours on Saturdays, and 2.5 hours on Sunday.
Nice. I mean that's good because most people are going to church during Wednesday. So you said $47 last year.
Average $47 on Wednesdays.
And that's not counting the expense of the rink staff.
Correct.
And you wouldn't need increased rink staff, you just, the same Zamboni for adult league and this, correct?
For the Wednesdays, if you have practice.
Right.
No, we would. I got to bring someone in between boys or girls. Last year on the north before men's league, and sometimes when men's league would go on innovative, that same person would just jump over. But if there's only a hockey practice, we'd have it ready, and if there's nothing that night, we just do it in the morning.
Oh, I see, okay.
But if something was later, I already have that one person in for that one resurface on Toshiba.
Right.
I don't think there'll be major complaints if it happens. I just want to bring these things to mind.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Negative? No. All passed.
Any other questions for me?
You're good, Darcy.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you guys. Come to the rink and check out all the new improvements. They're pretty awesome.
Coach, do you have to go pretty soon?
Yeah, probably about 5 minutes.
Okay. He's coaching soccer tonight. He's not really a coach.
I'm not coaching. I just tell people what to do. Thank you guys.
Have a good night.
Dan was asking about trees. Let me see if I can find an email.
Didn't realize you bumped around that week and not listening.
I've noticed walking around down by the high school and park and how they mow around the trees, and they must go pretty fast because they got skid marks around every one.
A zero turn
They tear 'em up
actually starts to dig in whenever it's being turned.
Yeah, it just,
And I have an all-wheel steer, and when it starts to go around the corner, this one's pushing this way and this one's steering this way. It just starts to go with a rut. And I can go slow, and it still does that same thing. It's because it's pushing in opposite directions. Yeah, it's
just circle the trees where they're at.
and shy of having them go a 5-foot perimeter around all the trees with a push mower. I really can't think of a solution because you can't have them go the opposite way. It's the same turnout. Trees.
You got a 3-year plan, right?
Are they all bare red, the trees?
No, they are actually containerized. Yep.
And did you have to get this grain, did you order them on your own? Or was it part of,
I was given information on what trees are available, what trees qualify to be in the grant. From the state forester. In fact, he's who's included in here. This John Hartland and Andy Jerky is the one who got the bid. So here's some of the ones he has available this year: lindens, hybrid elms, honey locust, Kentucky coffee tree, Japanese lilac tree. Obviously, some of those are more suitable for a park versus being along a trail right out there by the cemetery. We'll also be working with Black Hills spruce. He's got quite a number of those. When we're looking at the spruce, they would go on that cemetery trail on the south side of it, because if we put it on the north side, we'd be looking at drifts possibly building onto the trail that we have to maintain now. We get to maintain, not have to. Either way, however you look at it. But it's new concrete to be snow blowing. There will be some going out along the new trail that's on the west end, that 1.4 mile trail that goes from Franks Bay out to Lions Point Park. There are spots that are more in need of them than others. If you look at where the teeter-totter is, there's a number that would be needed there. There's what kind of had been a field approach. There'd be one added there if there's enough space. I think there is, because we needed to stay away from the right-of-way, yet still stay 15 to 20 feet away from the trail. And I believe there's enough space there for that. The other end where they created the berms, kind of cut through a hill in order to where the gravel parking lot is at the west end before you get to Lions Point Park. It's out next to the road, and then it goes back in again to go over to the park. There's swales of dirt and grass now, but that area is kind of barren, so I think quite a number could go in there. But you and I and Andy can go out and flag as far as where specifically those can go. We've already met with him, Jason and I did, regarding the ones at the cemetery. But everything is going to meet what the specifications are for the state in terms of what they said we can plant. More questions on that?
Oh, you answered them all.
Okay. Back to the park board meeting here.
Apparently there's a conference in Spearfish.
Well, and that's the scoop. It actually ends on the 9th. That would be the night of the park board meeting. And I could probably make it back. I think it wraps up around 1 after a meal but I don't want to push it. Yeah, so I'd rather go a week later if we possibly can. We get better information as well. I will not be here. I'm taking off on the 29th or so. I think it's the 29th to go to Yellowstone with my wife and then come back after 5 days and stop in Spearfish for this conference. So I'll be gone for about 10 days. So in order for me to send out a packet, I would need to do it around the 28th and I wouldn't have current financial information because we have to go through the month to get that. So I'll come back then on the 10th on that Friday and need to put together packets to send out for the next week for both Golf and Cemetery and Park Board. So if at all possible, if we can run the 16th, it'd work great with me. If it works for a board.
Works for me, October 16th.
Yep.
Should make it.
Make sure
Super.
nobody goes up.
And I had told Adam, who was looking to go coach tonight, I don't know if he was looking forward to go coach. He get back when he asked me what time if we need him here till the end. I said I expect this meeting to take 35 to 45 minutes. We're at 46, but he got asked to coach now rather than just taking his son to soccer. So that's a surprise to him. 6-year-old soccer. It's going to be like herding ants or herding cats. But I'm sorry.
Motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn. I'll second.
Okay, let's go.